The explosive popularity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has put many obscure superheroes on the map, while also offering redemption to those who have been unfairly portrayed in the past. And, in 2015, we got to see exactly what redemption looks like in the form of the DareDevil television series. As with the other Marvel TV shows, the connection to the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole is basically non-existent, and the series is cursed to remain in the small Netflix bubble of the Defenders-related content. Or is it? In this video, we will recap the entire DareDevil Netflix series and also offer some insight to what the future holds for our favorite blind vigilante. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give a quick click on the like button and subscribe to our channel while you're at it. Okay, let's cover some history first. Caution, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the DareDevil movie from 2003 or the TV show from 2015, we'd recommend the TV show. Now, the Daredevil from the comics has a long history, with the first issue, The Origin of Daredevil, coming out in 1964. While the story and character, as with all comic characters, has had changes made to it over the years, we'll focus on the adaptation made for the screen. Matthew Michael Murdock, Matt to his friends, was a normal kid living in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of New York. One day, after an unfortunate auto accident involving radioactive materials, Matthew wakes up in the hospital, unable to see, but he finds all of his other senses have been enhanced to superhuman levels. Matthew's father was a boxer, and one day after refusing to throw a fight, he's killed by some gangsters. After being blinded and orphaned, young Matthew finds himself at a crossroads in life and decides to hone his body to protect himself, and eventually others. He does this with the help of a mysterious figure known as Stick, who trains him in martial arts compatible with his new superhuman abilities. During this time, he also studied law and became a lawyer to be able to protect people in the day as Matthew Murdock, and in the night as the costume vigilante Daredevil. Daredevil had a relatively successful comic run, and as such was adapted into a movie in 2003. While the movie did receive very mixed ratings from both fans and critics, it grossed over $179 million with a production budget of $78 million. It produced a spin-off movie, Elektra, in 2005, which was, unfortunately, a commercial and critical failure. The Daredevil movie covers the main aspects of the story, including all of the iconic characters: Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, Bullseye as the villain, and Elektra Natchios as the usual love interest. Unfortunately, this adaptation left a lot to be desired, especially when it comes to the performance of Ben Affleck as Matt Murdock himself. But, shortly after, the MCU came along and brought the superhero genre into mainstream success like never before. With it, in 2015, Netflix gave us what is regarded by many as the best superhero TV show to date. The Daredevil TV show was a commercial and critical success beyond imagination, with an amazing cast, great acting and writing, and phenomenal fight scenes. And the suit? Don't even get us started on the suit. The TV series ran for 3 seasons until 2018, with many familiar faces: Wilson Fisk, Bullseye and Elektra now joined with The Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and others. Now, while everyone's performance was top-notch, especially Eldon Henson's Foggy Nelson and Deborah Ann Wool's Karen Page, 2 people really stand out: Charlie Cox as Matthew Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk. These men seem to have been born for the roles they were given, similarly to Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. The chemistry between these two on set is obvious. There really are no other 2 actors that could better fit these roles. The first season of the show serves to introduce us to Matt, Foggy, Karen, and Fisk, alongside some other characters. In the beginning, Matt and Foggy are working as lawyers, with Matt using his superhuman senses to his advantage. There's a reason they say justice is blind. Struggling to hide his identity from his friends, while trying to save the people of New York from gangs and corrupt cops, we often see just how vulnerable this, quote, superhuman is, especially when pitted against the imposing Kingpin. But by the end of the season, we see Wilson Fisk in jail and Matt with his iconic suit on, sporting the name Daredevil. After some time, the second season picks up with some romance drama between Matt, Karen, and Elektra, who shows up at Matt's place out of the blue. Shortly thereafter, we find out that Matt's old mentor, Stick, is back and is trying to recruit Matt into some kind of secret ninja war he and his group have going against this other group called The Hand. This is where the show gets a little less grounded, leading into the inevitable yet short death of Elektra at the end of the season, which all ties into the Defenders TV show. Oh, and there's also this fantastic Punisher subplot which sets up the Punisher TV show, which is excellent in its own right. In The Defenders, Matt, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist team up to fight the Hand and the newly resurrected Elektra before they can dig up some old dragon bone so they can turn it into immortality juice. After a long fight, a building ends up dropping on Matt and Elektra, after which Matt wakes up inside of a church. Now we're getting to the third season. After all of that build-up with mystical dragon bones and ninjas that can hold their breath for 10 minutes while fighting, what's the next step up going to be? That's right, it's Wilson Fisk. The third season brings the fan-favorite Kingpin back into the game. And this time, he brought along a friend, the second most famous Daredevil villain, Bullseye. Bullseye is a man that never misses a shot, or throw, or literally anything that has to do with precision or aim. What he does miss, though, are any kind of actual social skills. This man is a sociopath of the highest order, even compared to Fisk himself. I mean, he, quote, goes on a date with a girl by stalking her and buying the same pizza as she does while he watches her from his chair. Talk about creepy. But anyway, this season goes much like the first one, just with more action, which is by no means a bad thing. It ends in line with Season 1, with Fisk going back to jail. However, this time there's a twist. Bullseye was paralyzed by having his spine broken, and is on the operating table being fixed up by some doctors, obviously setting up future endeavors. Now, with these 3 amazing and successful seasons, you'd think that they'd want to continue riding the money train as long as possible, but sadly that wasn't the case. The show was cancelled after the 3rd season, leaving fans around the world dumbfounded. Outraged, fans started a Save Daredevil campaign online trying as hard as they could to get the show back up and running, and the popularity of this campaign has periodically dropped and risen. However, after November 29, 2020, the Save the Daredevil campaign is on an explosive rise. Why? Well, that was the day that the Netflix contract ran out, and the rights to Daredevil officially went back to Marvel. Now with all the power back in Marvel's hands, and the main actors themselves speaking out about wanting back in, will they listen and make Daredevil rise from the ashes like a phoenix, as other shows did in the past? It's hard to say. While the demand is obviously there, Marvel definitely doesn't cave into every fan demand out there. What sets this one apart, however, is the amount of acclaim the show had and the popularity of the Save the Daredevil campaign over the span of 2 years, where it has only gotten bigger. There are a few ways they could bring Daredevil back. Recently, there has been talk of Charlie Cox joining the cast of Spider-Man 3 to reprise his role as Matthew Murdock, since Peter Parker may be in need of some legal counsel. With rumors already spreading of Jamie Foxx returning to the MCU in Spider-Man 3, why not bring back other familiar faces? Then, there has also been talk of Daredevil popping up in the new Disney Plus series She-Hulk, or even in Hawkeye. With Disney now basically owning all of Marvel, including most film and TV rights, this seems very plausible. Lastly, there are so many content streaming services out there, other than Netflix, that we could possibly see a 4th season of the television series produced for the small screen once again. While we cannot say for certain what will happen, we know that failing to act on any of these opportunities would be a huge mistake for Marvel, an oversight that we don't see happening. One way or another, Daredevil will be back. What do you think? How do you think Marvel will handle this character's return? Tell us all about it in the comments below, and check out some of our other videos for similar content. And remember to subscribe.